Welcome, welcome, welcome. We are back. Okay. So we have Tristan versus David in this matchup, and it's gonna be Storm versus Sultai Beans. I believe Tristan is on Storm and David is on the Beans deck. Um so Tristan taking a mulligan here, and I believe it is Beseech Storm. It's probably the best version of Storm at the moment, and I don't think there's any other reason why you should be playing a different variant. It's just being able to do beseech loops and if you really need to use Song of Creation, although it is weak to Bowmaster. It's pretty hard to make an argument to be playing any other version of Storm. Looks like he's gonna go down to 5. David, from what I know, is just playing like a stock version of the Sultai Beans list, and Sultai Beans probably the best version of Beans as well, just because you have access to like Life from the Loam and you use Wastelands. And I think Wasteland is really what pushes it over the other four or five color versions. It looks like he is looks like so it looks like Tristan is settling on his 5. I'm gonna apologize for the audio. I might sound a little echoey. I haven't fully figured out how to adjust the sound here in my new place, but that is why the older video probably sounds a little bit better than these next few ones. So we're gonna start off with David playing a polluted delta, passing it back to Tristan. Tristan just returning the favor with a misty rainforest. David gonna draw for a turn, play a wasteland, and threaten the land base. There's a galvanic relay off the top of for Tristan, showing a bloodstained mire. I think there's an underground sea. I think there's a lotus petal in there as well. And I think there is a Beseech the Mirror. David showing double Force of Wills in hand. And I didn't quite get a glimpse at the other cards. There's a Bayou. There's a Brainstorm, a Murktide Region. I think he just drew an Underground Sea for the turn. Gonna play the sea and pass. I think that's an Orcish Bowmaster at the end of in David's hand. Tristan gonna draw. Looks like a Chromox. So Chromox, Galvanic Relay, Underground Sea, Lotus Petal, and then 2 cards that are unknown. So this is always a matchup that I really enjoy watching, just because I'm in the firm belief that it is already so hard for Storm to go off if an opponent is prepared. But seeing a Control versus Storm matchup and just seeing how the Storm pilot kind of plays around all of the like strong control spells in Legacy. So he has to play around Force of Negations. He has to play around, Force of Wills. It's the Force of Will check. In the Sultai Beans deck, you have Orcish Bowmasters to punish like Song of Creation if that's the route that you're going for. Um, there's just so much hate for Storm that it's really fun to watch the pilot just navigate their way through the slew of answers that is now like part of the strongest deck in the format, which is Sultai Beans. But hopefully we see Tristan get some success here, because I know the last matchup we covered with Storm versus Control wasn't too successful. So it looks like he's gonna try to go off a little bit here. There's 2 Storm count for there. Not putting anything under the Chrome box. There's a Galvanic Relay for Storm count is 2, so gonna exile 3 cards. There's a Lion's Eye Diamond, Thoughtseize, and Burning Wish. David, at the end of the turn, going to Brainstorm. It was not a Orcish Bowmaster. Look, it's a Mystic Sanctuary. And it's going to go to the top. There's a Witherbloom command, and now I think there's an Orcish Bowmaster in David's hand. Gonna crack the fetch to shuffle away those 2 cards. Nice and easy way to get the Mystic Sanctuary out of the hand. There's a Brainstorm off the top for David. Gonna Wasteland probably a Taiga. Try to come them off the red. Nope. Just gonna go after the Underground Sea. There's a Witherbloom command. So looks like he's targeting the Lotus Petal for destruction and then milling himself. So if he mills himself, he gets to return the Wasteland. He can play the Wasteland and take Tristan off of blue. Mill is going to hit Sauron's Ransom, Ponder, Force of Will. Alright, Wasteland comes down and takes out the Underground Sea immediately, passing the turn back. Tristan now has Taiga Chromox and Lion's Eye Diamonds off the top. Now he has access to double Lion's Eye Diamond, Thoughtseize, Burning Wish. Not really a great position here. Can't do much with these Lion's Eye Diamonds. Plays an LED from the exile. That's Storm Count 1. I wonder, he probably, like, it's hard to expect a double Wasteland turn. Like, that's really rough. But I'm wondering if Tristan could have got away with actually exiling something underneath the Chrome Mox. Because I think that's the one thing that's holding him back now, is because of the double Wasteland, you really are stripped on mana sources. And your only other sources of mana are your Lion's Eye Diamonds, which, you know, kind of runs you out of steam. There's a up the beanstalk for David off the top. Gonna tap 2 and slam the beanstalk. Gonna be great for these double Force of Wills. There's a Stifle for David. Misty Rainforest for the turn. Gonna pass back to Tristan. Tristan gonna draw. I think that's a Veil of Summer. Wow, I'm surprised. I guess it stops his Beseeches from getting countered? There's a Murktide region off the top. Gonna slam it onto the board. Gonna make it as big as possible. Trigger the Beanstalk. There's an 8/8 Murktide. I'm surprised he went full force. There's not much that Tristan can do to disrupt Murktide regions. Like, that's not what you really want to be doing, and I don't even think they have a way of effectively dealing with a Murktide. So because he had 2 Murktides in hand, I think you could have gone small for the first one and then big for the second one. Because of, like, you don't lose out on damage because it's gonna grow no matter what. But, you know, it's kind of like negligible. So many cards in David's hand. I don't see him losing this battle. Just the double Wasteland would basically put him so far ahead that he doesn't really need to worry about anything. He's got so many answers in his hand. He has ways to refill for his answers. Like, each of these Force of Wills can come out and he just trades 1 for 1 because of the up the beanstalk. So it's gonna be nigh impossible for David to lose this one. Plays a Polluted Delta for the turn. Gonna tap 2. Second beanstalk. Finds a Misty Rainforest off the top. Gonna go to combat, swing it in for 8. Brings Tristan down to 10. Gonna pass, so if anything's gonna happen, it's gotta be here. There's a source of mana, but not black. I wonder if it's gonna make a difference. There's a Thoughtseize in Tristan's hand. I believe. I think that's a Thoughtseize. Oh, just gonna pass, and that's pretty much game. So if David can just cast any random instant or sorcery, he can put 2 extra counters on the Murktide by casting a second Murktide, and that'll be 10 points of damage. Gonna fetch. Stifle his own fetch. That puts the second spell in the graveyard. Gonna play a little Misty Rainforest for the turn. Okay, so that's how he gets his second spell into the graveyard. David going to crack the fetch, stifle his own fetch, puts the Stifle in the graveyard. So now he has Brainstorm, Stifle in the grave, and now he can exile them both to the second Murktide. Murktide swings in for 10. So David takes it over Tristan in game number 1. Okie dokie, I hope you all got some snacks or have a drink or something because we're going to be in for a doozy. Storm going to be trying to bring it back 2 games in a row over David, who's already up a game. So Tristan looking like he's taking a mulligan. So he flashed his hand to the screen. Sorry, I wasn't really paying attention, but it'll be up there. I'm sure you guys see it. You guys can pause. I can't pause. But David is very carefully analyzing his hand, taking his time, making sure that he has a keepable against Storm on the play. Looks like he is confident and gonna keep. Tristan gonna draw his 6. Is it gonna be playable? Volcanic Island on the top, LED, Brainstorm, Lotus Petal. I know I'm pretty sure that's a Beseech in the last 3. Not sure what the last 2 cards are, but he's gonna put away a Lotus Petal. Down comes Volcanic Island, and just gonna pass the turn. Just gonna draw. It is a Veil of Summer. One of the best cards you can possibly get against a Storm player. As long as it's not Tess. Gonna play a Carpet of Flowers. And then in main phase 2, off of the Carpet of Flowers mana, he's going to Island Cycle. Looks like Tristan is going to Brainstorm at the end of David's turn. Draws another LED, Ponder, and an Underground Sea. So puts 2 back. Alright, Tristan going to take his turn. Draws the LED that he put on top. There's a Misty Rainforest. One of the cards that I wasn't able to identify. So I believe there is still one card we don't really know, unless you guys saw it and I didn't. And I'm not sure what he's thinking about. So he's gonna crack the Misty Rainforest, finds Underground Sea. Alright, there's a Ponder. Brainstorm, Bayou, and I think that's a Bloodstained Mire. Going to shuffle it. Pretty quick decision. Wasn't really great, not much action in there. But I haven't seen any Dark Rituals from Tristan. This is really strange. I wonder if there's a Carpet of Flowers. No green mana to use it though. Going to pass to David. David gonna draw. He has this big chillin'. He has a Wasteland. Is that a Powder Keg? There's a Powder Keg with the double green, or with the double mana from the Volcanic Island and Underground Sea. So Powder Keg acts very much like Ratchet Bomb. There's a Wasteland on Underground Sea. And very vigilantly keeping up the green source for a Veil of Summer. There's a Brainstorm off the top for Tristan. Tristan going to cast it immediately. That's Storm count 1. Gonna draw 3 cards. It was Veil of Summer, Lotus Petal, Ponder. Looks like he's gonna put away an LED. I wonder if he's considering using the Lotus Petal to cast the carpet. I don't think that would be a very great idea. You're wasting a storm count to kind of, you're basically using 2 cards to play 1 into a Force of Will, and I'm not a huge fan of that strategy. Especially if Tristan is on the Wasteland plan. Alright, so, or sorry, if David is on the Wasteland plan. Tristan going to crack the Lotus Petal for Carpet of Flowers. So he's gonna go to his second main, cast a Ponder. Ponder is gonna find LED, I can't see what the third card is. Gonna draw. I think it's a Misty Rainforest. Yeah, so he draws a Misty Rainforest and just passes the turn back. Okay, so Powder Keg goes to the upkeep and triggers, not gonna put a counter on it. So that's where it differs from Ratchet Bomb. Ratchet Bomb you have to activate to put counters on it. But you do have to activate the Powder Keg to blow it up. There's an energy flux in David's hand. But he's just gonna play Underground Sea and pass the turn. Okay, so looks like Tristan is fetching at the end of David's turn. No, he untapped, so this is before the draw step, so probably during the upkeep. Finds a Bayou, so this gives black source of mana. I wonder if this is a Thoughtseize in Tristan's hand. Or maybe it is the Dark Ritual that we were finally waiting for. Wow, okay, so I think there's double Veil of Summer in Tristan's hand. I think it's double Veil of Summer, Beseech the Mirror. And I'm not sure exactly what the last card in his hand is. I'm going to assume that it's a Thoughtseize because he fetched for black. And it's the one card that I haven't been able to guess yet. Looks like he is triggering the Carpet of Flowers. There's a Dark Ritual. Okay, so that's the card that I couldn't identify. I haven't even seen that artwork yet. It's kind of cool. But this is Storm Count 1. So there is there's 2 floating green, 2 or 3 black. So there's 5. Okay, so there's a Beseech the Mirror, sacking Carpet of Flowers to bargain. So I think he has 2 green floating. So you needed to use the black from the Bayou to cast the Dark Ritual, which is using 3 black to cast the Beseech. He needed to float 2 mana, presumably green because of the double Veil of Summer. And it doesn't matter what the mana from the Volcanic Island is, because you just used it for the generic mana from the Beseech the Mirror. So, what's this Storm Count at? I think it was Dark Ritual, Beseech, Gaia's Will, so Storm Count 3. Gonna play Misty for turn, cast Lotus Petal, so that's Storm Count 4. So I think they're just talking about the mana, because David pointed out his lands from the Carpet of Flower. So Veil of Summer is Storm Count 5. So now all of his spells are basically uncounterable. But David can still prevent himself from dying by casting his Veil of Summer. So the Misty Rainforest is cracked, finds an Underground Sea. Now what does Tristan do from here? Because he's only at Storm Count 5. Okay, that's Storm Count 6. So he has 3 black. So I think he still has 1 mana floating from the carpet. Okay, there's a Beseech. So that's Storm Count 7. So whatever he gets is Storm Count 8, but he can't do a Beseech loop because he doesn't have anything to bargain. I'm very interested in what he does now. I'm not a very good Storm player, so... Does he have, like... He has no more land drops because he cast the Misty Rainforest. I think he's considering a Burning Wish, but what would you even Burning Wish for? Like, would you... Do you just kind of accept that you can't go further and Galvanic Relay and hope that you can get there off that? Gotta cast a Tendrils of Agony for... What, 16? It's only 16? It's not even a lethal Tendrils, and here's a Veil of Summer to just stop it. Okay, it looks like Tristan has scooped. And yeah, so David takes it over Tristan. Not much back and forth in that second game. I'm still waiting for the day that I cover a game of Storm versus Control, and the Storm player prevails. Okay, we'll see you for round 3. Take it easy.